Institute in L'Aquila, associate professor in economics, and she's a friend of. She was Maria Giovanna was one of the participants of our earlier workshops, also in Bruni, Juan Bolzano, and originally she was from the University of Sassari, where she has his PhD with the friends Bianca Biaggi and Manuela Purina, no? And today she will present a study on the past, no, Maria Giovanna? So
On
I have,
working
yeah, I
route.
have to share with you the host, no?
Sì.
You are co-host. You are co-host. Okay, so you can put the title of your presentation, and
Yeah.
thank you very much for being with us, Maria Giovanna.
Thank
Maria Giovanna is in,
you.
Maria Giovanna is in Punta del Este, but participating in this way because of it was a better way to do it, I think. And I forget to remember that all the participation of Maria Giovanna is part of a project that we have between the University of Siena, the Gran Sasso Scientific Institute, the UDELAR, the Universidad de la República, and other universities of Argentina, Brazil, and Italy, no? And other Eastern countries. So she's here with the financial support of this project in green economy, no?
Yeah.
Sustainability.
Sustainability.
Okay, okay. So she's the boss in Gran Sasso. So thank you, Maria
Thank
Giovanna.
you. Thank you
Thank you.
very much, Gabriel, for the presentation, for the invitation. Um, Yes, I'm here in Punta del Este, and I appreciate a lot to be here, to know students, to have classes with the master students, and today to present this work titled The Economic Impact of Working Route, a Tourism-Led Growth Perspective in Italy. That is a joint work with Martina Dalmolin, Associate Professor at the Vilnius University, but previously colleague at the Gran Sasso Science Institute in Italy. So this is a paper, so no, it's not a paper because it is a working paper, because it is actually under review in an international journal, but until now we have not an answer as usually. So I continue to present this work in conferences, and every day I receive a lot of positive feedback. This is a research on slow tourism, and in particular on working routes in Italy. Just to understand the topic, working routes are route that the most famous one is in Spain, Santiago de Compostela. In Italian and in Spain we call these caminos, cammini. But we analyze the situation in Italy where the cultural ministry had proclaimed the 2060s as year of the Cammini. Just to remember the relevance of the topic, and with the intention to enhance this rich heritage composed by a big network of of these walking routes. Which is the background? We starting with Martina to study this topic because in recent year, and particularly after COVID-19, so after 2020, the world of tourism was affected by important changes and new form of tourism emerged as an alternative paradigm to mass tourism, such as, for instance, green tourism, heritage tourism, and among these also slow tourism. That is not a new concept. Slow tourism idea as the antecedent in the slow food movement, with which it shared the relevance of slowness as a way to escape from the chaotic daily life. In this context, this kind of tourism give us the possibility to, I can say, take a rest from this chaotic daily routine. And also, another important part is the fact that we can reconnect with people and with environment. So, which is the state of the art as slow tourism is becoming a growing paradigm of alternative tourism. Also, studies on this topic are growing. We find four different strands of the research on slow tourism. The first one is slow travel and sustainable development. They focus in particular on low carbon travel and environmental impact of travel. There are a lot of paper on this topic, as I was saying before to students in the class, that focus on this kind of sustainable travel. Then we found another part of literature that we call slow tourism and social aspect, that focus more on culture, heritage, landscape, so with the supply side, the offering for tourists. Then we have the slowness and città slow, connected with the philosophy of slowness. And finally, the part of tourist perspectives on slow tourism and travel that try to understand slow travelers' behaviors and perception, basically using qualitative analysis. Since we analyze all this literature, we found a gap that is related to the fact that doesn't exist an analysis on the economic impact of slow tourism on destination. We know very well that tourism is an important driver for socio-economic development of destination places. Gabriel write a lot of contribution on this literature. But since slow tourists are said to have an anti-consumerist practices, preferring in turn local art and craft as well as local food and culture, they are able to generate development for local businesses and communities. So we start from this point that we think is a relevant point. So the fact that in general, when we analyze the impact of tourism on economic growth, we do not take into account this kind of tourism. So which is the context? As I said before, the network of working route is big in Italy, but we didn't found a database on that. So we map this 91 working route, and we build our database to analyze this phenomenon by using the website Cammini Italia, and we found national, interregional, and intra-regional working route. Also, I have to specify that when different alternatives route exist, we consider the principal one. This because in the website we found more than 100 walking route, but sometimes they overlap. So at the end, we examine 91. The aim of our study was to investigate if the Italian walking route are a driver for the economic development of the destinations where they pass through. And we analyzed this by using two main hypotheses. The first one is that the presence of at least one working route in a province positively affects economic growth. And the second one is the higher the number of working routes in a province, the higher the economic growth. Since first review suggests us to add a theoretical framework of our study, now we add to our paper this theoretical framework. Of course, we had not a theory already in mind, because this is a very original topic, and we have to build our theoretical framework. And we thought that working route are related to these three main facts. First of all, tourists stay longer at a destination because we are talking about slow tourism, a kind of slow tourism that implies that I plan a more longer stay in the destination. Second, tourists have a connection with the local way of life, because also this fact is one of the main characteristics of this kind of tourist. And finally, tourists prefer the low season and not the peak season. This is another factor that is generated by the fact that I have to work. I prefer not to do this during the summer. So the majority of tourists that practice this kind of slow tourism prefer low season. Starting from these 3 points, we can say that, first of all, working route are related to an increase in the demand for tourist accommodation. Also, we have an increase in the demand for local restaurants, local food, and local products in general, and also an increase in the opportunities for job related to tourism in different periods of the year. So the famous seasonalization can be put in place thanks to this kind of tourism. And finally, we frame the fact that working route can generate economic growth by this mechanism, and we measure economic growth as a positive effect on GDP per capita. Of course, if you have any question, you can interrupt me whenever you want. If this is everything clear, I will show you our data. That is a panel data that we construct from 2000 to 2022 by using multiple sources. First of all, as I said before, data on working route are from the website camminiditalia.org. We have a lot of information about this route, the geographical route, the year of start, whether it is spiritual or not. Then we have official data by our National Institute of Statistics about tourism. So the classical one, tourist arrivals, divided by national or international, tourist overnight stays, divided by national and international, accommodation, so hotel and other kind of accommodation. Then we collect data on GDP per capita, on population, density, and we add a measure of human capital by using official data by the Italian Ministry of University and Research, that is the number of university courses. This because the number of graduates is not available at provincial level for this long time span we have. So we prefer to maintain the long time span and to use a proxy of human capital instead of reduce the number of years of analysis and use the number of graduates. Some descriptive statistics. Here I put on the map working route per province in 2021. That is the last year I use in my analysis. And from the map, we can see that the province with the higher number of working route are in the center of Italy, and in particular the highest number, 9 working route per province, is in Abruzzo, where I'm based now. Of course, we have also some province with no working route. One is here in Sardinia, and another one is the north part. So the distribution is very spread. We cannot see any specific pattern of distribution. I have to say that since the number of provinces in Italy change over time. We use the classification at 103 provinces. Mm? We have 103 provinces and 22 years. So a total number of observation that is higher than 2,000. This is the evolution of the phenomenon. For the years we analyze, we can see that starting from 2012, we have a higher growth of the number of working route, and in particular in this year we see that we have 5 working route more, and these 5 working route pass through a lot of different provinces. Okay, so in the table we have in the first column the total number of working route per province, and we can see that they change from 100 to 289, and in the last column we have the number of provinces with at least one working route that were 74 in the first year and that are now 96. So just to describe our case of study and to highlight the fact that this is a phenomenon that is growing. As a method, we use the famous tourism-led growth hypothesis, famous starting from the seminal paper by Balaguer and Cantavella Giordà, published in 2022. This is a conventional approach to test the relationship, of course, between tourism and economic development. We use this methodology, first of all, because the validity of tourism-led growth hypothesis depend on a set of country-specific characteristics, and it fits very well country-level studies. Second, as suggested by the colleague in 2023, tourism-led growth hypothesis can be tested more effectively in a panel context because cross-sectional information can improve the power of the test. So, our empirical strategy include 3 main steps. A first step in which we check for Granger causality, and we ask if GDP cause tourist arrivals or do tourist arrivals cause GDP? The relationship, of course, can be unidirectional or bidirectional, and this can affect our second step of analysis, in which we test if the presence of at least one working route has a positive and significant effect on GDP at the province level. And the third step, in which we test if the amount, so the intensity of working route, has a positive and significant effect on GDP at the provincial level. Since our series are stationary, so we perform a series of unit route tests, and since there is no cross-sectional dependence, we can test if there is causality between tourist flows and GDP. Following the literature on tourism-led growth hypothesis, but changing some aspect, we test if there is a causality between arrivals and nights and GDP, and if these relations in unidirectional or bidirectional. I put here changing some aspect because I use total arrivals and total night of stay. While in the majority of previous literature, colleagues analyze specifically international demand. So I think that in this case, since I have provincial level, also domestic component is relevant and not only international one. Results of the Dimitrescu and Arlin Granger non-causality test confirm these two things. First of all, GDP is affected by tourist arrivals and tourist nights, since we can reject H0, so arrivals a night does not grant cause GDP. And second, the relation is unidirectional for arrivals, since we cannot reject H0. So GDP does not grant cause arrivals, but it is bidirectional for night. And I summarize here our results. Okay? So, this is our theoretical and empirical model. It is very know that we can estimate Y as an aggregate output, and that is a function of the standard production factors that are physical capital, human capital, and tourism. So our empirical model is built as GDP per capita, that is a function of GDP per capita at time t-1, capital stock, human capital, a dummy about the presence of a working route in the province, then arrivals, and some control such as population, hotels, and dummy for each year. In the second model, we use the same variable, but we substitute the dummy of working route with the intensity of working route. We use a dynamic panel data model based on the famous Arellano bond estimator, one-step GMM difference. We use two variables for working route. The first one is a dummy, that value 1 if in the province I is present at least one working route, 0 otherwise. And in the second one, as I said before, the variable is measured the intensity of the working route per province. In both cases, we estimate the model with both arrivals and nights. And also we perform a robustness check by using another dummy that is called credentials, so a spiritual dummies. So the fact that a working route have or not the credential, so the stamp that test the fact that it is a spiritual route. Here we have our first results to test our first hypothesis. As expected, the presence of at least one working route here per province has a positive and significant effect on GDP per capita. The same is found for arrivals and night. So arrivals in Model 1 and night in Model 2. Also, we have GDP in previous year that is positive and significant. Capital stock, human capital is positive, but it is significant only in Model 2. This is, of course, a limitation that I highlighted before, because this is not a real measure of human capital, is only a proxy. The effect is negative and significant for population. This is expected results, and also number of hotel that is significant only in Model 2, that can indicate for population agglomeration effect and for number of hotel displacement effect. Here we have the second main results with the other variable for working route, that is intensity. Compared to Model 1 and Model 2, the working route intensity variable is also more significant. Arrivals, Model 3 and night Model 4 are positive and significant, as GDP in previous year and capital stock. Human capital now is not significant and nor hotels. I interpreted this as probably the fact that economic growth is driven by tourism demand and the presence of a high number of working routes, while the number of hotels and the presence of university courses are, in this case, irrelevant. Since the first time I presented this paper, a colleague say that credentials are important in this kind of topic. We check if this variable is important or not, and we add this dummy in order to control for the type of working route. The variable credential is equal 1 if the type of working route is religious, spiritual, or not. The results show that this variable is not significant and so is not correlated with economic growth. I check also the main statistics on this topic, and I found that people that do working route only 32% worked for religious reasons in 2023. They are pushed by other motivations that are more related to mental well-being, nature, discovering new places, physical activities, and cultural interests. So the main motivation is not religious, okay? And in any case, this does not affect economic growth. So, just to conclude, because I think I finished my 30 minutes, this study aimed to investigate, as far as we know, for the first time, the relationship between tourism and economic growth at the provincial level in Italy, using this famous theoretical framework that is tourism-led growth hypothesis. We, as an original element, added the presence of working root to the traditional equation, and we studied this in order to understand this new trend of slow tourism, and also as a measure of cultural heritage, because I didn't mention before, but these working roots are also considered cultural, Italian cultural heritage. The results of our estimation confirm our two hypotheses, so the presence of at least one working route in a province positively affects economic growth, and greater the number of working routes in a province, the greater is economic growth. Of course, as every analysis, also our analysis presents some limitation. Many studies using this framework to analyze the impact of tourism on economic growth have in the past used the variable tourism expenditure. Unfortunately, this variable was not available for our level of analysis, but future research could move on this direction, because in last years we have collected this variable, at least as far as I know, for some region in Italy, not for all Italy. Another variable that could be used is the average length of stay, which some colleagues argue that can be considered as a proxy for expenditure, in particular in this famous paper by Gabriel and Raffaele Scuderi. Finally, a comparative analysis could be made between Italy and Spain. As I said in the introduction, Spain hosts the most famous religious walking route, that is the Camino de Santiago. So I finish here my presentation. If you are curious, you can find the working paper version of the study in our website of the GSSI, where we publish this discussion paper series in regional science and economic geography. If you have any question, suggestion, comments, I'm here, I'm available.
Thank you, Maria Giovanna. So we open for comments, questions. Comments or questions?
Thank you very much, Maria Giovanna. It's very, very interesting, your presentation, your work. I really like it. I have two questions, just because the data is very interesting. Maybe I want to read it much more deeply, but it was very interesting that 2 points, I think. If you notice that hotels are negative, I think it is it is because maybe you pointed it about the idea of slow tourism, and they want to be but where they stay, because also in the place that in the model that you analyze the nights that they stay, so you have an hypothesis where the people are staying when they stay much more than one night. If it's yeah. And the second point is population, that also is negative. But you are talking about people who habit in inhabitants, or also tourism, because only inhabitants.
Mm.
Yeah.
So,
How other tourists affect it? Because I think the increasing demand of this type of fruits and camini are affecting also the demand, because I was reading about how much is crowded Santiago de Compostela, for instance, and it also affect the demand of it in both sides. Maybe people who want to go with a lot of people, but people that they stop going because it's too crowded, not only because of population, but also because of tourists. I don't know if
yeah.
yeah. My English today is very slow. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Victoria. Yeah, the results you mentioned are specifically population and hotels. Population include only resident population. And according to the agglomeration effect literature, higher the population, lower the GDP per capita. So I think this was expected result. Hotels, this is the second time I use provincial data to analyze a phenomenon in Italy related to tourism, and for the second time this variable is negative and sometimes is significant, and I explain this as a displacement effect. So when we have two sectors, one that is a traditional sector, and the other one that is a developing sector, that is tourism. The fact that tourism grow and displace the other sectors, this can have a negative effect on GDP. There is some literature on that, but it's not so vast. So I think that in future I would work on that, because it is very, very interesting to find this negative effect related to this developing sector that displace the other sector that are present in the provinces. This is not related to the fact that people stay longer in accommodation, because the people that usually work in this route, they don't use hotels. They use other different kind of accommodation that are present at the territorial level in rural areas. Not B&B, but hostels, more different accommodation. Another question, and important part of the story is overcrowding, but I think that at this level, we have no overcrowding in this walking route because they are not famous as Camino de Santiago is. So for this reason, it is interesting to compare the two cases. I hope I answer all of your doubts.
Thank you very much, very, very much.
Okay. Good morning. Maria Giovanna, my name is Diomira. I am from Brazil.
Hello,
And
Diomira.
Congratulations for your research and your presentation. And I like very much your study, and my interest is because I studied the literary tourism, specifically literary routes. And the idea of slowness is very interesting, but I would like to know if you have some numbers about the number of people that the number of walkers in these routes, because how we can relation the economic surplus with the size of tourists in this segment, this kind of tourism, because I suppose that in the case of literary routes, it's not a lot of people. And I would like to know about these relations, about numbers and economic growth, because I suppose that we need a quantity of tourists to generate economic growth.
Yes, you are reason, Diomira. Unfortunately, we don't have official statistics on this number of people, workers in this route. However, since the phenomenon is growing, recently there are some associations that are collecting some data. In particular, I have the number for the last year, but I do not remember to put into the slide. So this association count only for one route that is the most famous one, that is called Via Francigena. In 2025, plus 58% of nationality on the Via Francigena. So they have the numbers, and I have to ask this association if they would collaborate with us in order to put also this information in the analysis. They have, for instance, the month in which they prefer work that are September, April, May, and October. They ask people motivations, for instance, if they travel for religious motivations, if they travel alone. They say that 55% are male, 45 female. So they have some numbers, but I don't have.
Thank
Mira,
you.
hello, mira. Do you hear me?
Okay. I think that they didn't have the numbers of the amount of workers in this route to measure the economic growth between these two variables. But I suppose that maybe in the future, future research can give this answer. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you, Diomira. I have a question from the chat. If I understand well, the question is if you have been able to classify the pass according to the different attractives they offer.
No, they are not working route with attractiveness. We can classify, for instance, if they are more longer or shorter, if they pass to more provinces, if they are national, for instance, because there is one that is national, so the working route pass through all regions. There are others that are more local, but I think we cannot call these characteristics attractiveness.
Attractive. No, there are also some international paths.
There
no?
are others that are international.
International.
Yeah. Via
No,
Francigena, Via Francigena
yeah,
is international.
yeah. The Via Francigena is the same as Camino de Santiago,
Yeah.
but is a part of Italy, no?
Yeah.
So is the Camino de Roma. Is more. No, but probably you can, Maria Giovanna, you can divide in those religious and not religious, for example. No?
Yeah, the credential dummy is this has this information. Yeah.
Okay. More questions or comments or more questions, more comments?
I have one. Maria,
Yo, mira, again.
why did you choose this subject to research?
Because I found a gap in the literature. No one analyzed this topic, and it was a growing phenomenon since now a lot of investment are made by our government to develop, to enhance other open new route. I think that next year other Italian colleague will study the topic because it is a growing phenomenon. You are mute.
Yeah, you're mute. You're mute, Diomira. We cannot hear you. Okay, now see. Now.
Okay. Are you a walker?
No. My colleague,
He's
yes.
a surfer.
My colleague, yes. I don't know if Martina is here with us.
Yes,
Yeah, hi,
yes, I'm here.
Martina.
I'm here. Nice. And thanks, Maria Giovanna, for presenting our research.
Martina. No, really it is growing very fast, this phenomenon in Italy. I think pushed by the success of Camino de Santiago, no? But
Yeah.
in Italy they have a lot of paths to develop. So I remember during the workshop in Siena,
Mm-hmm.
the Via Francigena passes through Siena, and there were a lot of people doing the path, both by walking and by bike.
Yeah.
And in particular in Siena, they have this hospital that is the hospital of the Jubileo and the Francigena. No? So they are very interested in developing the thing, and I came from the mountains, no, because I was in Bolzano,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and the success of Bolzano is not winter, is not ski, is much more people walking in the mountains during summer,
Yeah.
no?
Spring and summer.
Yeah, yeah. Martina, please.
If I can add something, when you mentioned the difference between, if we check between religious and let's say not religious, actually we checked, but we distinguish between spiritual and not spiritual because of the credential.
Yeah.
So we check for that. We check for that.
I saw your message. Yes. Thank you, Martina.
Thank you.
Some more questions on this. So if somebody is interested in these topics, please contact Martina and Maria Giovanna. They are still working on this, no? Not only related to the impact on growth, on economic growth, but also I think it could be interesting to understand what is the impact on the type of tourists we are receiving. Because, in my opinion, this type of tourists, the tourists that walks in the path, are much more friendly than other type of tourists, are much more green,
It's
just to
sustainable. Yeah.
be, no, it's sustainable.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is something that I was pushing here in our Latin American countries, to develop a cycle paths, to develop walking paths, and so on. The more and more the people is preferring this type of tourism, and that is, as I said, much more friendly, ecological, green, and so on. So thank you very much, Maria Joana, for the interesting work. I hope you can publish this. If not, you know that we will publish it in a book in the next future. So thank you very much, also Martina, for being here, and for all the participants. Thank you very much. And Mautona, I am looking your message here. Thank you too. And see you next week. We have Daniela Sorrentino from the University of Siena. I don't remember now what is the topic he will present. It's a paper of management, much more than economics. And as I said, probably with Martin and Vero, we will send a list of the seminars that we have planned. Okay, just so you can have a list of this. Thank you, Diomira, for the comments, and I hope to see you soon. And no, Diomira, I will contact you for other things later, okay? Thank you very much to everybody.
Bye, thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Maria Giovanna.
Bye.